Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Brian T. White here with another episode of the Civilized Leisure Podcast. We are here in search of one goal, betterment of self for betterment of community. Um, how y'all doing today? I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm a little overwhelmed. I've been trying to de-stress and decompress some things, and as usual, per this administration, there's a lot going on, and I really didn't want to take up too much time today. I just wanted to come on here and just talk about something that's really on my mind right now. And I'm seeing this division in the community. And it's always going to be division in the community, right? Because we all have different thoughts. Even in the midst of when we were in the height of fighting for our rights, people had different beliefs. The, the boys didn't agree with Booker T. None of them really agreed with Marcus Garvey. Malcolm and Martin had different philosophies. Um, yeah, but within all of that, I felt like they all wanted the same thing. They were all fighting for the same thing. They just all had a different approach to it. So, with everything going on right now, like has been previously stated, as we are continuously seeing, the Black American community is pretty much frustrated and to the point where a lot of us have decided to take a step back. And I respect that, like I've mentioned before. Um, I guess what I have an issue is, I'm gonna just come out and say it, right? This whole idea of the FBA and ADO, so however you choose to identify and how they are moving, right? So going on right now, there's this whole uptick of posts regarding something that Deontay Kyle said in his podcast about the FBA and mentoring machine. And naturally that put the whole FBA community in an uproar, you know. And there's been every breakdown under the sun from both sides of the issue. And for me, I guess honestly, I'm just in a space where I'm just so tired of the diaspora war. Like it's an impression Olympics for me. It's everyone who has suffered in some way under the same person saying, I've suffered more or I've been through more. It's it's discourse that is just counterproductive to me. Now, are there conversations that need to be had? Absolutely. There are absolutely conversations that need to be had. But overall, I just don't see a point in attacking people who have gone through the same thing I had. Now, I understand it's not that simple. Nothing is ever that simple. But for me, it's a situation of I don't even know how to, quite honestly, I don't know how to describe what I'm saying. That's just where I'm at. Like I really didn't come on here with like a game plan of what I wanted to say or what I wanted to talk about. I just came on here because I'm truly I'm just venting my frustrations right now. This is a frustration episode, if you will. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm unloading. You know, I was in therapy, and one of the things my therapist talked about is how we hold on to things for too long. We don't properly deal with them or allow ourselves to go through those processes and get those emotions out. And she likened it to having a box that you continually stuff and never take anything out of. So after a while, the box gets overstuffed and you start seeing it crack on the sides. If you don't take the time to actually go through and unpack all of that stuff, what is eventually going to happen is the box is going to give and the stuff is going to get itself out in a way that you don't want, which creates a bigger mess that you have to clean up. So that's kind of what I do. And there may be episodes like this from time to time where I'm just trying to unpack so I don't unload in the wrong way. I remember Charlemagne God said something that really resonated with me. He said, if you don't properly heal your wounds, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. And that's really what I'm trying to do, you know, because I say it all the time. I'm about community, you know, I'm about solidarity, class consciousness, and I understand that that is completely out of the picture for some people. They can't see it with the way the world is set up now. But I'm one of those people, if I see the need, I'm gonna feel the need. So I'm gonna do my best to create that solidarity, even if it's just a small space and very few people are in it. If I can create that solidarity and maybe that solidarity gets spread and then we just become a collective like we're supposed to. But what I see with these movements, again, this is my personal opinion. What I see with these movements is just a need to be seen, but it's a need to be seen at the cost of unseeing others. And I can't, I can't connect with that. This is my thing. If you want to delineate, that's fine, but your delineation should not involve being dismissive and downgrading someone else. Because we've been fighting for acknowledgement for so long. I guess what I'm saying is delineation without decolonization isn't going to work. Because what I see right now with these movements is white supremacy and blackface. That's what I see, right? Which brings me to another issue. I can't say this without being attacked. Like, you can call yourself everything in the world, but you can't take criticism. You don't have the emotional intelligence enough to hear what people are saying and have conversations of why you move the way you move. And then you have people who see you moving in a way that the very people we're fighting against is moving. So it's even harder for them to connect with why you move the way you move. But instead of addressing that, you attack that. Like, I saw something online. It was crazy. I was just reading through some of the contents and I saw something where somebody said that they read or they saw a comment with somewhere where an FBA pretty much called a Gullah Geechee person a tether because they had African features. These are the things that pretty much annoy and frustrate me about this whole situation, because really what it is, you are trying to, and again, this is my opinion from what I'm seeing, what you're trying to do is separate yourself, get your lineage recognized for what purpose? Because what it looks like that purpose is white acceptance. You want them to acknowledge you for who you are so you can participate in whatever it is they have going on. And your acknowledgement comes at the cost of not acknowledging other people or finding ways to discredit other people. Now, is this me saying that there aren't issues? There are absolutely issues. There is misinformation on both sides. I grew up thinking all Africans were living in squalor and had the big bellies with the flies on it flying around. They grew up thinking all of us over in America are just lazy. And all we do is procreate and create horrible music that degrades us. And all of this is perpetuated by the same people. This is why I'm going to say it. The delineation, however you say the word, without decolonization is pointless. You're fighting hard to get your lineage recognized just so you can operate in the same space with the same mindset as the people who colonized you. And noticing all of this, they are allowing it to go on. I posted a TikTok earlier today because I was just noticing how my algorithm was being pushed at the moment. And everything on the For You was this argument between what Kyle was saying and the FBA response to it, and the people who support, the people who don't support. That's how the algorithm is set up. But I can't say anything about what's going on in Palestine. I can't say anything about what this administration is doing. Can't even mention the Epstein files or anybody that's in it. I promise you, if you make a video about that, your numbers are going to look small to zero. So we know that these people control what gets seen on the algorithm. But I can swipe in every other post. It's something about this discourse. There's something to that. That is intentional. That is, let me keep them fighting with each other so they won't fight me. Now, I don't pretend to know what people's intent is, what people are their end goal is. But I can say this. The way they will rally around each other and organize to attack someone who criticizes them, that energy isn't seen on anything going on right now. And I think that's what the criticism is. What is your end goal? You get your lineage recognized, and then what? What are you going to do with that? And I'm all for you doing that, right? I'm not here saying you're wrong. I'm not here saying I don't agree with the motive, but I just don't agree in how it's operating. I don't feel like I have to disrespect anyone to get me acknowledged. And then the reason why I say it comes off as white supremacy and blackface, because when you look at it at its core, what it is denying other Black lived experience outside of the Black American lived experience. Like none of that matters. None of their experiences matter. None of what they've been through matters. They're just coming here to take away your piece of the white hegemonic pie. And you don't want that. Whole time, white hegemony doesn't want any of us to have a piece of that pie. So they'll keep us fighting over the same slice. And they own the entire bakery. This is why I feel the way I feel about this discourse. Like, I feel like healthy discourse is needed. Conversations are needed. But the kind of conversations that are being had is counterproductive. This cult behavior of extreme isolation from everybody who isn't Black American, to me, is counterproductive. Attacking people who criticize you is counterproductive. The way you're organized to attack people, but aren't organizing to do anything other than say It's not an organization, it's a lineage. It's counterproductive. Finding a reason to call everybody a tether is counterproductive. I say this as a Black American of two Black American parents. A Black American who has got to experience. I grew up on a HBCU campus, right? My mom worked there too. So I spent a significant amount of time around Black people from all different places in the States and out of the States. And it shaped how I see Blackness. I don't put the same way I don't put restrictions on my thought. I don't put restrictions on who I am. My Blackness is just that. I got to see Blackness from a Caribbean aspect, from an African aspect, from a West Coast aspect, from a Midwest aspect, from a up top aspect, from a Southern aspect. I got to see all of that and experience all of that. And I am just of the mind that I am more focused on our similarities than our differences. We can talk and discuss and work through our differences, but we need to focus on those similarities. Everybody doesn't feel that way. And I am absolutely okay with that. But don't get mad at me if I point out how counterproductive it is and how the people who we all need to be fighting benefit from it. Me getting my lineage acknowledged does not change policy. It does not change my history being erased. It does not change the circumstances of my community. It does not raise the median household income. It does not lower the unemployment rate. We are fighting to own something that owns nothing. And the whole time we're fighting each other, they're watching. They're promoting it. Y'all think we don't have agent provocateurs and agents of chaos in our movements? Willie O'Neill was close enough to Fred Hampton to get him unalived in his sleep. Right? There's so many bigger fish to fry for people to be complaining about who bought the grease. Because we're going to all starve to death eventually, waiting on that. Like I said, I've been in a space where I've got to see Blackness from so many different perspectives. And I'm not going, the same way I wouldn't want my life denied, I'm not going to deny somebody else's. That's just my opinion on the matter. Right? Because to that, within this lineage conversation is the constant conversation of who's not included in that. Make sense of that. We didn't create our Blackness, so how do we get to dictate Blackness to anyone? We can dictate what's detrimental to it, but we got to be realistic with that too. because we want to, I'm not even going to say we because it's not we. Y'all want to exclude non-American blacks. But within those Black Americans, you want to exclude, you also want to exclude the LGBTQ plus community. Some of y'all. I don't know the specifics. But even further within that, within this movement, I'm sorry, this fight for lineage, you have Muslims, Christians, atheists, hoteps, Black Hebrews, who all have within themselves their own fight against each other. So I guess what I'm asking is, when it's all said and done, who's going to be left? And after you get this lineage recognition, what next? What is the plan? I'm all for if there's a plan in place, if there's something that leads to something, even if I don't agree with it, I can say, okay, you're trying to do something. This is where you're going with it. But fight for lineage and then what? If America recognizes our lineage today, what is next? What are the political ramifications of that? What is the policies that we're going to be pushing? What economic infrastructure are we going to build off of that? What are we going to do with it? I'm all for fighting for what we need, but I am not for fighting for something that owns nothing. Because in the big landscape of things, for me, I could waste my energy fighting with people who look like me. I can have the conversation with people who look like me about our differences and then be focused on our similarities and move forward. Like, if I'm being honest, at this point, for me, it is the most colonized thing to own your blackness. It is the most colonized thing that not only do you wish to own your blackness, but you want to separate your blackness based on the oppression you received in a land you don't own, but had to help build. Which kind of leads me to my next point. So when a Shabusi, a Nigerian American, gets on stage and says that immigrants built this country, not only does that feed into what's going on, but it it speaks to the disconnect. Because I saw the statement that he put out, which I'm pretty sure his publicist and PR team had him put out. It would have meant a lot more personally if he came out and said it himself out of his own mouth instead of a written statement or a typed out statement. But he was trying to just speak to the current situation and acknowledging his place in it. So, and I said this like, I didn't think he was trying to be intentionally dismissive or disrespectful to the Black American experience and how we We are the ones who built this country. But I think there's room to have the conversation about how he said what he said and how it could be perceived and further cross division. But instead of us doing that, we want to make statements about him being a guest in a house. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. We don't own this house. And to look at him and have that kind of mindset that he's a guest in our house, it is giving we sick, boss. It is giving who is that nigga on that dead horse. I have a Sam Jackson said it in Django. That's what it's giving. That's the energy that it's coming off with. For me to want my lineage to be a Black American, that means I have to accept everything that comes with that. The good and the bad. But it just, for me, it just seems like it is not about our Blackness being recognized as much as it's about protecting our proximity to whiteness and keeping other non-Blacks that fit our mold. I'm sorry, let me say that again. It's all about proximity to whiteness and making sure that Black Americans are the only ones who benefit from that proximity to whiteness. Colonized minds. Recognizing your lineage means nothing if your mind is still colonized. Their proximity to you isn't the issue. Your proximity to whiteness is. And I want to end by saying this because I genuinely love everybody. I love all my people with all of our problems that we need to learn how to work through in a productive way. The Black people in my French list aren't just Black Americans. They're Africans. They're from all parts of the Caribbean. They don't just live in America. But I recognize their struggle. I recognize that they have things within their own communities that they're trying to fight through. And I recognize that we all had the same oppressor. We all had the same colonizer. That's what my fight is against. The person who looks like me that supports the colonizer who colonized me. The colonizer who colonized me. But anyway, I ain't got too much to say, man. I'm gonna let y'all next week, man, but cut out the stupid shit. Love y'all. See y'all next week.